This is the lovely Gen X. And Gen X is meeting you all today, I think, for the first time in this space. I have been intending for a little while to actually reactivate some live conversations in here. So, hello to everybody who's new to Manifesting Starpeace Utopia. I am RozyGlow Hannes, and this is Gen X. And together we are both weaving much magic.
Indeed.
I would say that our connection has really been around being peace ambassadors, right? And how did we even meet? Can you remember?
Actually, quite a few years ago, somebody who was working with you said to me, you should meet.
That was hope, wasn't it?
And we didn't.
No.
But some years later, the universe obviously had a plan that was unfolding, and it did.
And it's awesome, and I'm very, very happy about it because actually every time we get together, I'm just going to make sure we can see what's going on in the group as well. So every time we get together, magic happens, right? And what I wanted to do today was just to actually start an open conversation because we are currently in, well, the new moon energy. It's literally just birth. And I don't know how anyone else was feeling, but today I just didn't feel like I'd get out of bed. How about you?
Yeah, I zoomed up with full enthusiasm, and it was like sort of, and it's like, okay, plateau, and what should we do with this? But definitely, the energies are fluctuating, as
Yeah.
are mine.
And we tomorrow, I believe, according to Vivian, the ruling planet of Aquarius is Neptune, and Aquarius goes into Neptune tomorrow, or Neptune goes into Aquarius tomorrow. So there will be some shifting in the energies going on, and we will feel that. But at the moment, there's just a lot of interesting kind of pulling away, discombobulation, and we're coming into the year of the wood snake. So being that I am hosting an event on Saturday, which is all about aligning with the vibe to thrive in 2025. And what that actually means from our highest self-consciousness is redefining the concept of thriving. I think that's very important for us to remember. And if you haven't yet seen the video that I did on the 8th of January, it's pinned to the featured wall of this Manifesting Starpeace Utopia Facebook group. If you're seeing this on YouTube, which will be a little later, hello, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the notifications tab. And why not come and join our Manifesting Starpeace Utopia Facebook group? Because this is a closer space where we're really energizing a shift in the narrative and the collective consciousness of humanity. And one of Gen X's special gifts is a very complex multidimensional perspective. Like we're both very multidimensional in the way we see things, right? And I always love it when we chat, but we're like, we just have to put the video on because if we do this without the video on, we're going to forget completely what we said. It's been brilliant, it's been genius, but we didn't record it and I can't remember. And who are you again? And yeah, what are we doing?
Does it even matter?
No, none of it really matters. So what we thought was a good sort of starting point for all of this is coming into this energy of the wood snake. Bearing in mind that I am not a Chinese astrologer, as in I don't study in any depth Chinese astrology or astrology, but I'm fascinated by the symbolism in simplest form. And it allows me to tune in on deeper levels, just having an anchor point like wood snake. You know, what's that about? And personally, I don't like snakes. I have a huge fear of snakes, although apparently, according to a galactic astrologer who let me know about my different star families, I spent a whole lifetime studying snake medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a visceral memory of being thrown in a snake pit, like in one of my lifetimes here on this planet. So it's not that, I mean, if I've held them, I've had them around my neck, and you're going to tell a very funny story in a minute about this. Um, it's the coming across them by accident and being bitten by them, and then the sort of slow poisoned death that terrifies me. Not that I want to I don't want to kind of bring that. That's a fear I have, right? And it's not about focusing on fears. It's about seeing how fears can guide us, because fear on lots of levels could be seen as false evidence, emotion, or expectation appearing real. And I shared a little sentence with Gen X literally 5 minutes ago that you were like, what's that? That's the thing. And this is to do with, for me, the connection between the sacred feminine, goddess energy, the fear of the feminine power, which may be the phallus, the snake, you can bring all of this together, right? But I remember being invited to a goddess gathering when I was 18 years old and starting to have some really vivid dreams before I went. And I was just convinced that I was going to get there and women would be dancing naked with snakes around their heads. And I was terrified of the whole thing.
Great imagination, huh?
Yeah, so I told the high priestess who was running the event, and she looked at me and she just said, you know, scared is sacred scrambled. And at that point, I was like, what? And then I shared that with you, and you're like, oh, that reminds me of this. And it's really important. I'm going to pass over to you, Gen X, because when we look at what's going on the world stage today, we are dealing with a different level of terror, okay? Over the pandemic or the plandemic, whatever you want to call it, years, we were dealing with 3D terror. We were dealing with 3D duality, people being terrified in fear from their kind of survival programming. But now it feels like we're approaching duality from the mental level, not the physical level. So this is a kind of battle of good and evil in terms of what's going on in our heads and our consciousness, right? So we really want to evolve beyond 3D and 4D, whether you call it density or duality, move into 5D plus, where we can really bring in the Paradise Earth codes, the starpeace codes. We can allow our 12-strand DNA to be reactivated, and we can live as thriving individuals. Then all this stuff, the shadow stuff that hasn't been claimed, both personally and collectively in our psyche, the mental side of things, rather than the physical terror, has to be brought to light. And the key players on the stage, whether it's presidents in the US or other cabinet ministers or whatever's going on, is all being brought up at the moment to really see where people are still in judgment, in duality, trying to create good and bad and stay separate. So over to you.
The image that's just coming up for me is of a glass of water with mud in the bottom and just stirring that mud, and how that crystal clear water becomes muddied so easily. And it feels like, you know, as you were saying, there's so much stuff going on, so much shifting everywhere, so many ways to destabilize people, you know, on every level. And despite the, you know, the horribly difficult times that some people are experiencing, and all of us in some way or another, there is a real call through that to come back to our hearts, to come back to remember who we really are. Because it's, you know, as humans, we always want to defer out there to some degree or another and have somebody fix something horrible that's happening to us that maybe we're not feeling confident that we can fix, which is fine because we need help. We're not an island. But there's another way that we give our power away, especially when we're scared. And, you know, that scared sacred thing is so important, because it's just a tiny shift from being fearful and ungrounded and open to perceiving things in a way that's destructive, or coming back home to being anchored, grounded and connected to that which is greater than ourselves, whatever that might be to you, but is heart connected and earthed, which allows us to then perceive from our wisdom, which means that the fear can dissipate, which means that we can activate something and make a difference to ourselves, which will then have a ripple effect out, because we're all connected. So if we're rippling out fear and terror, then we're making that web shake in a not very great way. And if we're coming back home just for a little bit, listening, being kind, connecting in with that greater vibration, then we're not projecting all of that stuff out there, then trying to rescue it out there. And it kind of gets all stuck together, and I think, you know, becomes some of the things that we're seeing out there. Those, you know, the big dramas, the wars, the this, the that. You know, there's a little piece of all of us everywhere. So the more we can refine that with a bit of self-love and awareness and willingness to be humble, not grasping and greedy, a little bit more spacious, we can make a big difference. And when Rosie was saying about scared and sacred, another image that just came to me, which made me giggle, I came across it about a couple of weeks ago, and it's like this monkey, which sadly was chained in some kind of a field where he lived. I don't know the story around it, but he was kind of quite happy. He looked like he'd come to terms with where he was for now. And while he was picking about in the earth, there was a cobra sneaking up behind him. And this cobra is like, you could kind of get the sense that it was like, dinner is just a couple of feet away. And this monkey's busy doing his thing. And then suddenly the cobra rises up right near the monkey and looks the monkey right in the eyes. And the monkey's like, who the fuck are you? And then just goes back to picking the bits and pieces on the ground. And this cobra is almost like, you know, a personality that's going like, you should be scared of me. What the hell aren't you? You know, why aren't you reacting? So it starts swaying to try and get the monkey's attention. And the monkey's like, do you mind? I'm really dealing with my own shit right now and I'm busy. Go away. And this cobra is like, whoa, like, you know, you'll hypnotize the monkey. It's like in a minute it's going to react. And the monkey thinks, I'm just fed up with this interruption. So he turns around, picks the cobra up, drapes it around his neck like a necklace and carries on as was. And it just made me smile, because I thought, well, in the face of fear, if we stay true to what we're doing and our intention and our presence in the moment, we can walk through that. and then pull in what we need to support us making the next move in with a greater clarity and compassion. And humor and wisdom together are, for me, one of the best medicines in the bloody world. So thank you, Monkey, for being so right on.
Absolutely. I love that you shared that, and thank you, because we've had quite a little gathering today to just bring together our awareness. And I think that this is important, is when medicine women, when medicine people come together on whatever level, and we trust our own medicine and we respect each other's medicine. And this goes for everyone in this community, okay? Because if you are here, it's because you want to see a new narrative activated in our collective reality. But the main thing about this is it starts with your own personal narrative shifting. And as I said, what I'm seeing is this shift from the visceral, physical terror to mental terror. And it's important. We have to go through these stages. We're going to clear mental and emotional trauma and terror through everything that's going on. And what I see by this is, if we have been controlled for so long through fear, right? And we're learning now to take our power back and to be discerning, then what we're learning at this stage is where we still give our power away because we get scared. And we're seeing this in our personal lives, and we're also seeing it in the collective. So Genix, I would love you to share a little bit more about you, like what you do, because what fascinates me about Genix is the connection you have with the indigenous tribes of this world, and the way that you have been welcomed, if you like, experiences I've never had before at all. And like, we're both starseeds. Okay, we're both coming from a very, esoteric journey, if you like. And we won't go into the stories of how we got here at this point, but I think the important thing is that we are all being called to rewrite a script, as I said. And Genix has got a lovely poem she wants to share with us today as well, which I think is really important to bring forward. But at this point, we're a little bit in a liminal space. We're a little bit in this space between the old world and the new world. And it's in the not knowing that the shadows seem bigger, they seem scarier, and we face our own consciousness, if you like. So as we're coming into a year that, for me, from the Chinese astrology point of view, is, symbolized by, an animal, a serpent, something that scares me. I'm looking for the meaning and the messaging that can allow me to move through this and find the gold, find the gifts. And it's a year of endings and beginnings, right? So it's a year of us letting go of old versions of anything that's going on in our lives, old ways of showing up around love, money, health, power, purpose, and learning to let go of suffering as the way that we grow, right? Learning to let go of trying to control in order to feel safe. And I'm saying this because when we own it in ourselves, we'll see more about the fact that the confusion on the world stage, and by this I'm going to speak directly to the idea of the fact that there's some very wealthy, powerful people supposedly calling the shots as to what's going to happen in the world. But what we're forgetting is we actually do have a voice. And when we hear our own voice and we speak out into the world what we want, and we say, actually, no, thank you, that's not for me, I don't want that, I want this, we are shaping a new reality. And so the message for me today, in terms of taking scared to sacred and seeing the value here, is your own voice carries power. You can either use your voice and your energy to keep moaning about what's going on in the world and energizing what you're scared is going to happen, or you can use it to ask the question, what good is coming from all of this? How can we evolve into what we want more of rather than less? My personal sort of announcement, if you like, is that, one, there's going to be a very low cost membership coming up very soon that we'll announce for those of you who'd like to participate in co-creating a new reality. The other thing is I'm going to start showing up on YouTube live, having these kind of conversations, like no planning, but actually looking at current affairs and asking what good can come from them, asking what is the narrative we would like to create from this existing narrative, rather than who's right, who's wrong, who's to blame, who should be punished, all of that stuff. We've got to come out of duality, create oneness. So I'm going to be starting that. I'm going to do it in the most public place possible so that it can access the most people. But here in this group is where we get to take it deeper, right, and work it further. So I want everyone in this space to participate. I really want you to comment. If you're watching now, let us know. What questions have you got? What is going on for you? Like, let's do some real time. What's happening? Where are you stuck? What are you concerned about? So we can reframe it, because you've got two really, really cosmic consciousnesses here, right? That brought together and building a bridge. But it's an we work with you. Co-creating is not manifesting from an inside out. It's a co-creation energy between everyone concerned. And all of us are either co-creating from our programming, which is survival and fear-based, or we're consciously choosing to tap into our highest self-consciousness and co-create together from the soul frequency. That's what this group is about. That's what you're here for, to learn to do that on whatever level. So I just wanted to share that, because it's been a while since I've been here with you, and I'm going to be bringing lots of other guests in as well that are sharing how they are shaping the world through what they're doing. And this is where I come back to you and I ask you, can you let everyone know a little bit more about you, about the, I can never remember the name, but the ambassadors, tell them about that bit.
Well, I mean, basically, my kind of a few catch lines that resonate for me is helping people become their own medicine, because obviously I've had to do that a lot myself, especially since a near-death experience with a car crash some years ago now. But again, a huge catalyst for change and transformation, turning trauma to treasure. It's like we're a pearl from the wreckage is a phrase that really sits in my heart and says a lot for me anyway. You know, we come here as a grain of sand pissing off as a grain of sand pisses off an oyster and armors itself, and then at some point you look at it in a different view and it's become something beautiful and amazing and precious. And it's almost like, how can we take the things that threaten to overthrow us, rock our socks, break our spirit, and turn that scared to sacred? Because I think that's, largely what we're here to do, because you don't get out without these things happening, because we've chosen to come here and be human. So we do have the chance to nurture the power to turn trauma to treasure. In order to do that, it feels like, we need to remember to make space, which is also something that's quite easily filled, and to be able to sit with forgiveness, because we were talking this morning, both of us are quite fast people in some respects, and sometimes taking that slower road backseat allows spirit to weave. And actually, this is about spirit and us, whatever it is we're doing, for the greater good of all, hopefully in the web of life. And we need to learn to listen. We need to take a bigger breath. We need to be able to surrender a little bit of control so that the magic can happen that we talk about. So it's actually tangible and real when we share it. And I'm sure that goes for everybody at some level or another. So it feels like, for me, a long, long journey, probably thousands of lifetimes. I'm always cross that it hasn't been quicker, but hey, that's exactly what I mean. But to try and find an authentic voice, I had very little voice for many, many years because of my background. And, I would die if people talked to me when I was younger. I just go and stand in the toilet and count 3,000 and think I've just got over 10 minutes. I can go in a minute. How sad is that? But it was real trauma. And yet I knew I had a really big voice, and I knew I had a voice that needed to travel a big journey in order to come out the other end with something that wasn't just full of ego and crap and God knows what. And, so I was lucky enough in 2000 to be adopted into something called the Red Bead family by a man called Dr. Jim Gillihan, Tatanka Scar, White Buffalo, who was an extraordinary man, an exemplary human who worked with the Dalai Lama, was made a peacemaker between tribes, reburied many Indians who didn't have the proper burial they should, and was honoured with many, many, many indigenous medicines. That led me to have connection in a friend heart connection with 9 or so other amazing people like Clacael, Sabonfu, Grandmother Twyla. And through it all, it was a really precious thread for me, because it would be like in the very beginning, why do these amazing people want to give me time, because I didn't have a sense that I had any worth in those early days because of my journey. And that's what I came here to learn, not from ego and not from grasping, although there's, obviously part of that's there too. So those things resonated in my heart as so precious. I knew that they were what I wanted to follow. and to have that affirmation, not through looking for it, of people that can see you beyond your human crap, which we all carry, was a very heartening experience, and helped my spirit keep going at times when it felt like, oh my God, really? I think I'm done. And it's like, no, you're not. You're just getting another layer of shine, girl. Get on with it. And now, you know, this long time forward, I see all of those strands and weavings and traumas and challenges and pain, lots of pain, like we all have, being an absolute bloody blessing. On a good day, I don't speak like that on a bad day, but I do know that both are true. And, you know, turning that trauma to treasure is why we're here. Then we have a value to put out there, not to preach, not to tell anybody they should do it any different, but just be able to connect with the heart and go like, you know what, you are okay, you're doing all right, and wherever you are is a blessing. So remember that on the days that you don't feel like a blessing, or somebody else is putting stuff on you, because whatever that is, whatever is going on, we are part of absolutely everything. And the power is being able to see, what is it in me that hasn't quite healed yet, that's putting out a vibration, that's calling in something that might be deeply uncomfortable? Because if we can catch it in here and be a little bit kind and with it, then the charge and the pull will lessen, so that that can find a place to resolve. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And I think that's all part of, you know, how we then resonate the magic and the medicine into the web, because we are all connected, you know. And it's like, it doesn't just stop here when we have a row, or if we have an amazing magic moment. It's traveled a long way. So let's make our light shine and travel far, and come together and help each other light up the shadow points, not with judgment, not with fear, but with gratitude and excitement. Because hey, there's a whole new world sitting there waiting for us to create. It has to start in here, and then we hold hands, and then it gets bigger. And I am hopefully seeding something called Ambassadors of Unity, Pathways to Peace, looking at the power of community and spirit. And it comes from having been made a peacemaker a long time ago with the Indigenous, and at that point thinking, me? You must be joking. Now I can go, okay, I get it. I'm here now, and this is beginning. And it's going to weave into something more clear in that. And also we have more conversations to have on it. But just know that you are part of a magnificent new web. Choose life, choose to love yourself, choose to forgive yourself, and choose to just remember what an amazing person you are. And the more you can do that and shine, the more the next person next to you is going to catch the shine, and it's going to go star peace indeed.
I'm sitting next to like a peacemaker, Indigenous tribe peacemaker. It's like, I just have to giggle a little bit, because obviously, you know, this is the thing, is we kind of felt like we knew each other the moment we met, right? It was like, I know you, I feel your energy, I know this energy. And like, if you do this kind of work, and I'm sure many of you will identify this, a lot of the time you're like, holy fuck, if I lost my plot, like, what? You know, when I got the starpeace message, it was like, what? It's normal and human to argue with soul consciousness or spirit coming through and your guides coming through, right? It's okay. It's okay to do that. It's healthy. But as you said so beautifully, Gen the key to peace out there is peace in here. We're going to say the same thing in lots of different ways until it really catches. There's no saving the world, my friends. There's no going out there and helping everyone else. That doesn't mean you ignore pain when you see it. You ignore suffering when you see it. Do your best you can, of course. But like, look to your own and deal with your own by bringing love, bringing compassion. You know, my thing is conflict to compassion, right? As you were talking about with trauma to treasure, right? And it's like, everything that we see in this world, we can either keep energizing the conflict, or we can look for the way to unify everything. And when we train our eye to see things differently, we will have a different experience.
And our heart.
And our hearts. So take this as a baseline right now as we come into this new year of the wood snake. Peace is already here. 5D plus is already here. Thrive paradigm is already here. It just needs wiring up, right? It's already here. The wires are there. They need plugging in, actually, and switching on. So we're all doing this at different rates, right? Some of us have already done some of it. Some of us are yet to do it. But the name of the game is plug in, switch on, and allow yourself to consider what else is possible. So all the time we get distracted with thinking these are the only choices we have. There's always something else. And song, dance, movement, intention, tribe, community, all of this basically means what Bruce Lipton talks about in his books, and quantum physics and epigenetics all work with, is this idea that you build an energy, right? And that energy then takes on its own form. It's like a tsunami of change, right? You build the momentum, and eventually the momentum is unstoppable. And that's what we are doing now in our own lives. We're building the momentum to allow the changes we've been calling in to actually happen.
And also, just, you know, it's a thing that we ban the word about grounding so much, and yet sometimes we forget to do it. And it's like, if there's one thing every day, just take 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 3 times a day, to consciously come back to your presence in whatever way you do that. A friend of mine always used to say she keeps a piece of lemon in her pocket, and every now and again when she's sort of leaving or floating out or overwhelmed, she has a good old bite of the lemon, and it's like, woo, there I am. Like, what do you feel and see now? And it's just bringing that presence back in whatever way you choose to do it. But the more we are connected to the present moment, the more our perception is in alignment with spirit, or with the greater good for all. And when we do stuff, if we can just hold that idea that we're doing it for the benefit of all, not just ourselves, it makes a huge difference in the energy. Even if you don't feel it there and then, it will collectively make a big difference. And all of these things that we talk about are some of them are tiny, some of them are small, but you know, just breathing means we're here to do it. Connecting and grounding means that whatever it is we're doing is putting something sacred or sweet into the web, as opposed to something fragmenting or cloudy. So let the glass of water settle and relish the clarity, but also every now and again, if you stir it up and it becomes muddied, look into the mud and see what you see, because how would you like it to settle so it's clear again? The mud's not bad, the water's not wrong. Energy is energy. What we do with it and what we attach to it can make it heaven or hell. And every day we can get a little bit more clever, a little bit more creative and magical with how we manage that. So we weave the weave together for a better world.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And this does remind me, because I feel like a lot of us got a little bit like surprised by the intensity of the last full moon in Cancer. And I feel it walloped many. To me, it brought up shadow elements of what I'd call covert narcissism and also martyrdom in each of us. And I will say this in lots of different ways to people, but ultimately the shadow's in all of us to bring light to, okay? The shadow's not a problem. It's the unclaimed shadow that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's when people are not allowing I'm not a narcissist, I'm not this, I'm not that. We've all got it in us. We're multidimensional beings, 144,000 facets of the diamond of the masculine and the feminine. Babe, we've all got it.
And when we cut ourselves off from source, it happens more often.
Yes. So they're allowing, it's like the dog poo on my shoe. We all get dog poo on our shoe sometimes, right? And it's like, it doesn't make you a bad person. Or nits at school, right? It's like, oh, it must be dirty. No, things happen, right? So it's like allowing ourselves to notice where we go into judgment, come back to neutrality is key. And going back to what we were saying before, because I think the moons are always going to draw up and out that which is unclaimed. The full moons do that. They bring light to the shadow, right? With new moon energy, we get to set intention. So I love the idea that we have like four starts to the new year, right? You have solstice, you have the Gregorian calendar, you then have the Chinese New Year, and then you have the astrological New Year as well. Okay, and I mean, they're the ones I know, there might be more. But the point is, it's like you get to refine this idea of what you're stepping into. And one of the things around the snake is the snake eating its tail, the eternal nature of, like, you know, our consciousness getting to have a moment, being in a physical body in space and time, and to be in finite energy, to be in a short window of experience that isn't eternal, allows us to have such growth. We are really blessed. So if you are in a phase of suffering right now, if you're in a phase of loss, of mourning, of grief, of whatever's going on, our hearts are with you, right? This too shall pass. Everything does. The highest high, the lowest low is guaranteed. The important thing is how much are we going to allow ourselves to enjoy the experience when we can, and to allow ourselves to feel the blessing. This is what's coming through at the moment, the blessing of being present in this day. Because we can either mouth off about how fucking terrible the world is and how everything's going to shit and how things are worse than they've ever been, or we can look for the shifts that are taking place and go, what an amazing time to be alive, where all these structures that we thought were never going to be questioned are being questioned on the deepest level. I'm so excited. But at the same time, anything that we thought was certain, anything that we were like, we thought we could bank on, it's all changing at the moment. The only thing we can really bank on is our own selves being our own saviors. No one is going to come and save us. So when we allow ourselves to remember that the key is being the master of our own frequency, learning to come back to center, back to neutral, back to what do I want to create from this? We've already won, whatever winning means. And as we are like, I just wanted to sort of touch base on the fact that Genix came and participated in the Lionsgate event that I held back in August at the Green Door Centre. And it was one of those, wasn't it? We'd not met before. I had lovely Janie doing the sound bath. I was doing cacao ceremony. We were bringing in these energies, and I knew Lionsgate was like 1,000-fold expansion for those who wanted it. Now, as we've come into the energies recently of the planetary parade and everything else that's been going on since then, that expansion is continuing. Okay, so for everyone who said, I want to thrive rather than survive, remember any challenge that you are facing right now is to actually help you to thrive by showing you where you are plugging into old survival programming and mindset. You're saying, I want this, but I'm going to hold on to this old way of being. It's not going to happen. And one of the biggest places that this is coming up for everyone is around wealth, around resource, around money, supply, because the old world was about hoarding, right? The old world was about having and not having. And now the best way I can describe it is the glass isn't half full or half empty. It is refillable. It's about us being the glass, the vessel, constantly filling ourselves, expanding our energy till we are in a place where we feel plentiful and we can give from our overflow. And that is really, I feel, the biggest mission for us to connect with this year. It's something I'll be going into as we connect on Saturday. So if any of you do want to come along, I'm hosting this in-person event in South Croydon. I've got 2 spaces left. 12:30 to 5:30, and I'll put the link again in this group so you can grab it. But I'm hoping Genix is going to be able to come and join me on the 23rd of February at the Green Door Centre again, which is a Sunday. We haven't talked about this yet, so hopefully she'll be able to come. Where I'm looking to run the first embodied 3-pronged formula for peace, which if you don't know about my book, Starpeace 101, where is it? It's over here. It's a great book. Highly recommend you buy it, because this is a book that basically tells you how to go from the old world to the new world. It's all about moving from surviving to thriving, and it's full of codes to activate you. In it, there's this 3-pronged formula for peace, and it's about how we can create peace in one generation. Now, it's theoretical in the book, but then I got a download as to how we can embody it through our own experience. Part of it's embryonic yoga. Part of it is dance and movement as you've never known before, because actually bringing in your highest self-consciousness. It's not ecstatic dancing as events I've been to before. Yes, we are working with cacao. Yes, we are working with the grids, crystalline, divine mind, divine heart. But we're also working with music. I've got a phenomenal composer called Lorna James, who I've been working with all of last year. Human rights lawyer extraordinaire that's brought her consciousness into her music and is doing 8D plus frequency through dance music, classical compositions, you name it. My husband's going to be weaving a beautiful sound bath experience or soundscape experience through it, and we're going to be moving through it. Some of it's guided, some of it is free form, some of it is us doing exactly the same thing at the same time. Because I don't know if you know this, but in terms of when soldiers march, they have to actually not march over a bridge, because the combined energy of them being in the same rhythm and frequency means that they can pull the bloody bridge down. Okay, it can collapse because of the resonance that builds this momentum, right? So I've got this whole download. This is the first one we're ever going to do. Okay, on the 23rd of February, it's the first embodied 3-pronged formula for peace, and I want to see this go around the world. So If you're interested in coming along, keep an eye on my events page. We'll hopefully have Janie coming as well. Get her to do a bit of the sound work in the embryonic yoga bit. But we're also going to be talking about how we, through our own words and actions, become the solution rather than the problem, and how we can all participate in that, which is all, again, star peace. So keep the afternoon of the 23rd free of February. Hopefully you can make it. And if you can't, we're going to be doing this around festivals anyway, around the country. And I'll definitely be doing some with Gen X. Aside from that, we've got a lovely comment from Seema's saying, Seema's just reactivated in my community actually. And I was teaching pregnancy yoga to her years ago in up north somewhere. And Kobe's just saying, just utterly grateful right now that I came across you. Like, I've never met Kobe. Anne Hobbs is here sending us hearts as well.
Hi, Kobe, Anne.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for the love, beautiful ones. Like, we just know we're here to share something that whoever needs to hear it.
But also, we're a reflection of you, and you're our teachers.
Exactly. In fact, we're just, Bruce said it beautifully in his, we're not just, we're not going to say that. No one's just. Bruce talked about the transmitter and the energy in the collective and how the two work together. If you haven't seen that yet, it's on the top of my YouTube channel. Do you want to share your poem?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I just want to say, let love be your guiding star. It's always a very powerful, very short sentence that carries a lot. That was the last thing that was sent to me by my dog as she was passing over. And I said, what is it you want me to know before you go? And I was in an MRI scanner trying not to be scared because I hate them, and thinking like it would be a really good idea if I sent myself some healing and her. And in doing that, I asked her to share, and I felt a weight on my chest. I felt the fear disappear, and I just heard very, very clearly, let love be your guiding star. So when you're feeling discombobulated, fragmented, just take a breath, go back to your heart and listen. Be gentle, because you've got it all. You've got everything you need within. We all have. We just have to keep reminding each other. My website is becomeyourownmedicine.co.uk. If you care to visit, it would be lovely to see you, and there'll be other things coming that are specific connections.
I will put that in the chat box as well. becomeyourownmedicine.co.uk. Okay.
And I work one-to-one. I work with groups, all sorts of different things, and it's always nicer for me. I prefer to speak to somebody who wants to do some work on lots of different levels, because everything's bespoke as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for letting us share here. It's been really a great privilege and a lovely time we've had today, and it's so nice to be able to close that down by sharing with you and knowing you're out there sharing back to us. So this is just something that came up that might hold something for you, and it was called A Star Is Born at the Birth of a New Earth. And it wasn't written, it was a little bit back further, but kind of like it felt a little bit, there's poignancy here. Within the perfect awakening of the grand alignment, I wholly acknowledge with love and gratitude the unique design template of source signature that I am. As we receive the new sound and light codes, we strengthen our energetic soul frequency, which activates the monolithic grid of all that is, echoing the hum of the earth, the heartbeat of the mother, back to itself in peace with beauty, permeating each and every one of us at a cellular level within the field, radiating love at its core. As we reconfigure fragmented energy fields, harmonize discordant imprints upon our soul, and realign with divine purpose, silver gold threads of spirit whispers are woven through intentional breath and delicate conversations to open the heart chakra, beckon and inspire our ears to hear what is needed individually and collectively. As the divine activation of inner and outer harmony delivers the gift of peace within our knowing, sacred trust opens like a lotus at the center of our heart. We will hear our soul song singing and know our medicine well. Allow the new frequency and vibration to weave the next layer of your heart-mind coherence and divine connection. This blessing will be delivered directly to you through the matrix and through the universal heart song of the spheres. An injection of pure light, shall we say, activates your original blueprint. You are invited now to upgrade your intention, your expectation, your frequency, and all that you are, to release all that has brought you to this point now with love, for its purpose has been served, as has your notice to step up and wholly acknowledge with gratitude the unique design template of source energy that you are. Recognize and remember how and why you are here now to serve the light. If this is indeed your soul's calling, desire, and conscious intent, rest assured the universe has your back. You are the light and can only become even brighter in your shine for humanity. You are so very welcome here and now. We gather in love and in coherence to usher in the new paradigm together. Be ready to greet the new dawn and allow your naked, honourable and protected truths to be fully revealed in this said light of awakening. Plant great seeds and reap great gifts from those seeds already sown in the spirit of all for one and one for all. Are you ready to recalibrate, reform and celebrate the birth of a new era in harmony with Christ consciousness, natural and sacred law, and in full nurturance of our own precious soul's journey, that we may now and in the days to come, no matter what, seek to serve and nurture from abundance our great Mother Gaia, who sustains all life, and reunite together as one big soul-full family. Ahau Matakwi o Yasin. Wishing you so well to all my relations. Please remember we are all connected. Big love to you all. Big bear hug to you all.
Thank you, darling.
Thanks, Rosie.
That was amazing. Big bear hug to you all. I'm giving you a big bear hug right now. And apparently when you hug yourself, it is like being hugged. Like your body just responds the same way. So I do a lot of this when I'm speaking to my clients online. And again, a little reminder.
The only problem is if you do it in Waitrose, they sometimes think you've nicked
They
something.
think you're mad. Who have we got here? Good day from Powell River, BC Canada. Love the vibes you're embodying for the collective. Thank you for your work. Oh, you're so welcome. It's lovely to have comments. This is so cool. Yay! And I want to do a shout out actually because I can see my book by a window. Just the photo here on the Facebook page. Our lovely Kate Coulson is currently, she's taken the starpeace vibes to India. So yeah, really excited about the fact that they're there. And something that came through as I was listening to you was that for me, the wood snake, and again, literally, this is totally intuitive, not something I've read. Wood is fuel for the fire, right? It's also what allows, it's the trunk of a tree that allows a tree to grow and the branches to go out. So it's stability. And the stability and the fuel for this year is love. It's exactly what you said. It's
and love transmutes toxins as a snake does.
Yeah. Yeah. So
symbolically.
Use the I've got a peacock, a rainbow peacock behind my desk, which you sometimes see in my videos. And the fascination I have with peacocks is that they're said to be able to transmute the poison of snakes, and they take it and create the colours that are the beautiful colours that the male peacocks have. Now, there's some truth to how this is expressed and some not quite, but the ultimate truth with this is that we all have the capacity to take what is poisonous and make it medicine. Right, so fear, scared is sacred scrambled. So please, my invitation and request is to remember that in this world, it's very easy to keep coming into judgment, and we all love to hate someone, right? So on some level, own that it's okay, right? It's like every bit of us has a right to exist. It's only the bits of us that we suppress that end up having power over us because we are not allowing them to be seen. So when you see all of you, then you are allowing yourself to be your whole being and choosing what you want to energize.
Just something that popped in was, if you're feeling that kind of, you're caught in that kind of charge of hatred or negativity, just take a breath and step back. Give yourself a little bit of love. Feel the feeling, name it, scribble it on a piece of paper, draw it, mold it in a bit of clay, whatever it is, but don't send it. Because it's like, if you can just put it through the filter of ownership, then it doesn't be a serious charge sent to somebody else unconsciously. And I think, you know, none of us are perfect. We all get triggered all the time, but each time you remember a little bit quicker, then that charge turns around and falls to the floor, and you can deal with the feeling, and then you're back in your power as well, and nobody gets hurt.
Love it. Love it. That reminds me, as a really nice little nighttime practice for everyone. It's just to call your energy back at the end of the day and give back the energy that was sent to you in anything less than love. But rather than send it back to the sender, why not transmute it into love? Send it to source, right? So it only goes as love.
Go to bed with a peacock.
Go to bed with a peacock. Or a pigeon. Get some pigeons. Oh, I won't get that. Let's not go there. Okay, yeah, that's it for today. Feels like that's it today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much love, and thank you for being part of this community, and keep an eye out for what's coming next. Keep an eye on the events page, and I'll put the links for Genix as well, and you'll be hearing from us both very soon.
Big love.
Loads of love. Take care for now.